Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, I'm surprised to see it looks like Emma is joining us, and I know that she is involved in some sort of work today. So, but it's great to see you pop in, kiddo. Great to see you pop in. Good morning to Susie as well. And good morning from Holland. We haven't seen Ria for a while. At least I haven't seen Ria. So it's great to have one of our family members joining us all the way from Holland. And hopefully she's still wearing that hat that we mailed her that Susie made out of Minnesota proudly among the beautiful tulip beds in Holland. I think this is tulip time in Holland, isn't it? Probably. I bet you Susie knows if it's tulip time in Holland, being a master gardener, but I don't know much about gardening. So, but I know that Holland is noted around the world for their tulips. So it's great to have Ria here from the great country of Holland, near the Netherlands, I believe. I think it came up as the Netherlands when I mailed off that hat to her. But she shared a beautiful picture of some tulips and then also one of her sewing machines. If you missed that somehow on Facebook, you'll have to scroll and see if you can find that post. I post quite a bit on Facebook. So that hat from the workshop and the one that Susie made. Blah blah blah. All right. Good morning to Alex as well from California. Great to have Alex from California. I'm going to try to place a call real quick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them on the line or not. I mentioned to Kevin and Doreen, we're going to be taking a peek at Kevin and Doreen's Bernina record 930 electronic today. We got a little pre-glimpse of it the other day, and then we had technical snafus. And so we've got to circle back to this machine. And rather than kind of starting where we stopped, I'm just going to start over completely. So we're going to be meeting this record 930 electronic for the first time today and see what y'all think of it. Let me see if I can get Kevin and Doreen on the line. I don't know if they're going to answer or not. Oh, there's Kevin. He just popped in right there. Hey, Kevin and Doreen, I'm going to try to give you guys a call real quick. Hold on. I'll call on Kevin's cell phone. Boy, I've got a lot of contacts in my phone. It's like scroll. Good gravy. All right. So Kevin, grab your cell phone. See if you can pick up for me, would you, buddy? Hey, Kevin.
Hi.
Good morning. How's the weather in Iowa?
It's been pleasant today. It's nice.
Hey, I'm calling because I thought rather than me trying to explain the origin of this Bernina record 930 electronic, and rather than me trying to explain about the great mirror image of a machine that you gave to Doreen back in 1987, I wanted you guys to share your story a little bit. Would you do that?
This is Doreen.
Hey, Doreen. Hey, Doreen, share a little bit about the machine that Kevin gave you back in 1987, and then talk about this machine. I know you sent me a note via Facebook Messenger, but I thought it'd be better for the audience to hear it directly from you. So can you share about that gift back in 1987?
Well, yeah. I decided that, first of all, I went to the local hardware store to get stuff, and the man at the hardware store says, don't you know how to sew? Because he's known me since I was a child.
Okay.
Everybody in your family made your husband run around with holy jeans. So a sewing machine that can sew through 8 layers of blue jeans. To Burlington, to Bert's Sewing World, and I just threw down the layers of blue jeans. I said, I'll buy one that can sew through all this. Anyway,
Oops. Doreen, your call just dropped, dear. Your call just dropped. I'll try calling you back again. Hold on. Doreen must have lost connection, so let me try calling her back again. Hold on.
speaker.
Yeah. Somehow your connection dropped. I'm stationary, but maybe we just had a bad connection. So yeah. So anyway, you lay down this material on the counter, 6 to 8 layers of denim. And what did Bert do?
She says, I told her I didn't want one with electronics because we'd been to an Alda shop and all they had was the one with the tube where it blew air to start it. And I said, it would be full pinholes. That's why then we went to a Bernina dealer, Bert. And she goes, I got just the machine for you. And she sat down there and just sewed through all those layers of blue jeans and said, now you sit down and sew. And Kevin sat down and sewed on it. And that's the one we got. But I had to take lessons to know how to run everything the machine did and how to oil it and clean it. And she went through with me and put red dots on every place I needed to oil after sewing so many hours on the machine.
Oh, nice.
And in the book, she also put dots where you in the manual. And then you had to, when you learned to sew all these things, you'd have that kind of fabric, and you actually sewed those things and stapled them inside your book, inside the manual.
Almost like you were graduating in a sense.
Right.
Correct. Okay.
And then 2 years ago, there was an ad in the local Hawkeye, which is in Burlington, out of Burlington, Iowa, where Bert Sewing World was, that this machine that you're working on was for sale. So we went to look at it, and there was these 2 young girls. They inherited it from their grandmother, and they didn't want it. And so I sat down and sewed a little bit, and we thought for the price that they were offering it at, I wanted a sewing machine cabinet. That would be the price of the cabinet.
Oh,
so
wow.
we brought it home. And we were sewing on it, and all of a sudden smoke was coming out of it. So we knew there was something wrong, but we didn't know.
Granddaughters that inherited this machine that's on the workbench right now from their grandmother, but they weren't sewers and they didn't have any interest in the machine at all. I think you had shared in your note to me.
Right. And we tried to say, are you sure this is a nice machine? You can always get it repaired if it breaks down. And they said they didn't care, they didn't want it.
That
we kind of stole it, I guess.
Well, you know what? But when you did the right thing, and I say this all the time. I do this on Facebook Marketplace. I'll see a Singer 201-2, absolutely pristine condition, original owner machine, and someone's got it on there for $50 or $100, and I'll reach out to the owner. And a couple of instances, they had no idea about the significance of that particular machine. The same thing could be said about the Bernina 930. The significance of the machine and the roots and everything. Once you share that information with them, if they continue to just say, I don't care, doesn't matter, I just want it to go to a good home, then you've done your duty. And you've given them a chance, to benefit, and they've just turned it down. So I think, yeah, y'all handled it perfectly. And that's all we can do is we try to educate people on the treasures that are out there. I just had a lady come in the workshop just yesterday with a 19E special. And she had a similar situation, met an owner that was offering a ridiculously low price for this Swedish machine. And she tried to, gently let this lady know, you got a treasure here. This machine is worth probably 5, 6, 7 times what you're asking for it. And the lady didn't care. So she scooped it up and she said, the money that I saved on purchasing the machine after I told her what kind of machine it was. I'll plug it into the machine so you can make it like new. So that's kind of what she's doing with her 19E special, which I'll be showing eventually on the channel. And that's what we're going to do with this 930 is make it like it's new so that you and Kevin can sit next to each other, the one that you got from him in 87 and then this one here, and you guys can go toe to toe. All right, I'm up to 6 layers. No, I'm up to 8. No, I'm up to 10. You know, and kind of like a dueling banjos thing going on or something. Oh, I love it.
The machine that we have that Kevin loves to sew on is a treadle.
Oh, really? Okay.
What is it, Kevin? It's an old Singer with the Sphinx on it.
Okay. It might be a 66, or they made some of the 27 models with the same decal pattern. But yeah, if you're curious,
we have to pay for work.
Yeah, or you can,
in Ottumwa, Iowa.
Okay.
It was bought from Sears. Came from the Sears Tower on a train to Ottumwa, Iowa, and then a wagon train went to Ottumwa and brought it to Bonaparte.
Oh, wow.
Belonged to the little old lady that crossed the street from us.
Yeah.
At her sale, I told Kevin, "You're going over there and you're buying that machine because no one else is going to know what it is."
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, if you can look up on Ismax, or you can text me the serial number and I'll look it up and give you the skinny on it, because I know you guys are busy doing different things, and I can look it up in just a hiccup. Or if you've got the machine in view right now, you can post the serial number in the live chat, and Susie or Emma or somebody else can look it up for you during the live stream, tell you exactly what model it is, production group size, date of birth, all that. So it's up to you guys if you want to do that. But I appreciate you sharing the story behind this 930. And by the way, I've got to say, while I've got you on the line, you had sent me a follow-up note after we ran into the issues with the last live stream. And I said basically, hey, is there anything else you want me to dig into? Because, I've got the manual here. Some of the manuals are different. And you had mentioned that you were pretty sure that this foot controller had a function where you could do a needle down with it. And Kevin thought that it probably wasn't set up that way. Well, I've got great news for you. Based on you sending me that question, I did a little bit of additional testing on this machine. If you kick the heel twice, it goes to needle down. But if you hold the heel part down continuously instead of pushing with your toes forward, you can go stitch by stitch sewing forward with it as well.
I didn't know if that machine, that one, had that feature on it. I know mine does.
Right.
And if you're a quilter, they say needle down and spin your quilter, or when you're doing top.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've used it a lot, that feature on mine, putting zippers in blue jeans and coveralls and.
Well, and it's interesting too, because you had given me, I think, page 3 or page 4 to look at. Your manual is different than this one, because when you go to page 4 on this manual, all it says about the foot controller is, it says, let's see here, for you want to talk about a concise description. It says, for controlling the sewing speed. It doesn't talk about the heel kick. It doesn't talk about the needle down. It doesn't talk about sewing stitch by stitch, which is another great feature on this machine as well. So it's possible yours does the same thing, where if you hold that heel down on the foot controller continuously, it'll sew forward, but stitch by stitch by stitch, very rhythmically. So you've got a huge amount of control over the speed of the machine then. So, and where it's laying down the stitching. So, yeah, but yeah.
I have to admit, I haven't sewed much in the last year since I had my heart attack. It's just been go to therapy and walk 3 miles a day. So we're trying to get back into sewing and de-junking our house again.
How did I miss the fact that you had a heart attack? I know at one point either Kevin or you had said that you were under the weather, but I didn't know when did you have your heart attack?
A year ago in April.
A year ago in gosh, I had no idea. I don't know if anybody else knew it. Maybe it's just one of those things that was mentioned in a live stream or in the live chat, and I missed it totally. But I'm glad you're doing better, and I'm glad you're getting back to the things that you love doing.
Yeah. Well, the de-junk the house, I think, is a necessity.
Well,
the downside.
Go to the hardware store, get a rake and a hoe. That's my method right there. What are you going to garden? No, I'm cleaning out one of the rooms. That's all I'm working on. So, oh my gosh, that's funny. That's funny. So you are so much appreciated. You're such an important part of the Cow Country family, and we count you both as a blessing. I count you as a blessing with the opportunity to work on that Belvedere that we recently showed on the channel, and also this record 930 as well. Great machines, great stories. And, as you get back on your feet fully, you'll be able to really put these machines to work, and you'll have to get one of your grandkids or someone to shoot a video of the two of you with your 930 side by side going through heavy layers of denim. That was, and I'll post it on Facebook. So no pressure, just a thought.
Our grandchild is a dog.
Oh, your grandchild is a dog. Well, dogs don't have opposable thumbs, but I bet you they could run a camera. You never know.
Yeah, my daughter's at a conference. Her and her husband are at a conference in Florida. So we have the dog.
Well, that's okay. All right. Well, I'll let you guys get back to enjoying the live stream. And but I had to let you know, first of all, I had to let you share your own story about getting the machine from Kevin back in '87, and then also sharing a little bit about the story of this machine, and then also let the two of you know that this machine does have that foot controller feature, and I'll try to, by lifting it up and putting it on the table, I'll try to demonstrate that today, what you can do with it, and that way you can check yours. Maybe it does more than, maybe yours does not only the needle down, but it also does that stitch by stitch feature as well, which is great for laying some really controlled stitchings, if you're on a tight space or something. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, you guys take care. Thanks for taking the. We'll enjoy the rest of the live stream together.
Okay.
All right. See ya. Bye, Kevin. Okay. Well, that was fun. Like I say, it's always. I think it's more fun. It's more fun to hear the story behind a sewing machine from the owner and from the owners than it is for me to try to tell the tale. I probably will miss something or not get it quite right. Let me move this microphone back up again. So yeah, we're going to be revisiting this machine, and I want to start with some of the things I shared with you the last time. Some of this material that Kevin and Doreen had sent with the machine that is way cool, because we probably have people in the audience today that were not at the last live stream when we had the technical difficulties. So this is one of the original promotional type brochures that would have been with the machine. And they don't, the Swiss don't do things halfway. When they do a brochure, I mean, it's big enough to put up on the wall. Matter of fact, this would be a fun one to consider framing, possibly framing and putting up on a wall or something like that. Look at the size of this as a promotional material for this specific machine, the 930 electronic. And it covers a number of the different functions and the features of the machine as well. But just the pictorial value of it, I think, is spectacular. Two sides, and then they're showing the active side of it, how you can use it for different types of sewing as well. So really, really a wonderful bonus piece that Kevin and Doreen got with this 930 from those granddaughters that didn't give a hoot. They didn't give a hoot about sewing at all. And then I showed this to you in the last live This is the limited warranty by Bernina. And you would expect, a company like this, that they would follow suit with other ones that either went with a 25-year warranty or a lifetime limited warranty, like a number of the manufacturers did. They decided to go with a 20-year warranty, but it was basically bobbing the balance wheel. If anything happened to this machine during that 20-year period, the Bernina company would take care of it for you. But it really is, again, a really neat piece of the provenance of the machine. And again, it looks like the name of the original owner again was Esther Woodridge. And then Esther must have either, who knows? She must have possibly, maybe that's the grandmother. I don't know if, I'm guessing that Kevin and Doreen probably didn't ask the granddaughters, what's your grandma's name? But if they did, and the granddaughters mentioned that their grandma's name was Esther, then it's possible that this is the original guarantee that was given to those granddaughters' grandmother when she bought it brand new. I have no idea. And then I had shared in the last live stream, it's got a handy checklist here, how to buy a sewing machine, and it's kind of talking about and pitching, stitch quality, will the capabilities of the machine. Here it is. It's talking about, will the machine do this? And that's kind of what Doreen said to her friend Bert that used to have that Bernina sewing shop when she went in to look for a machine. She basically, Doreen walked in with that stack of denim and said, you got a machine that'll do this. You got my attention. You got me as a customer. And so Bert must have known her machines really well as a dealer for Bernina. And she knew right away that this record 930 would be able to go through that denim, or she wouldn't have taken it on the spot, it sounds like. So, buttonholes, stretch stitches, ease of operation. These are all things that Bernina really built into a lot of their machines, and certainly built them into this one from an ease of operation standpoint and from the capabilities of this machine as well. And then I shared with you this little receipt. It's from a place in Illinois where at some point back in 2019, it looks like, back in 2019, this machine that we're looking at today was serviced down in Illinois for some customer that had it at the time. And all it has on here is that there was a repair to the foot controller because the foot controller was broken. So it's possible that this record 930, the foot controller that I was just talking to Doreen and Kevin about, that has that two-stage function when you kick the heel back on the foot controller instead of pushing forward. When you kick the heel back, if you kick it twice quickly, the needle goes down and stays down. So you can rotate that material with the needle down. If you hold it down continuously, as I explained to Doreen, it's going to stitch forward stitch by stitch very rhythmically. We'll kind of test that out today so I can show that to you. But whatever was going on back in 2019 apparently was foot control related. Maybe they swapped them out. Maybe they had a different type of foot controller on here, and then they replaced it with this one that maybe added those extra functions that the machine otherwise may not have had. I have no idea. I was not there in 2019 down in Illinois. not even close. So I also showed this in the last live stream as well. And this time I'll be a little bit smarter. I'll open it so it's not upside down. This is the goodie box that Bernina provided with this machine. And I assume that Doreen got one with the machine that Kevin got for her as well. This was probably a basic issue for these machines. But all kinds of presser foot attachments, extra needles, embroidery hoop, and the list goes on and on and on and on of all kinds of things that Bernina would give that owner to make sure that they were set up for success from the very beginning. You can just get a little glimpse in there of all the stuff that was included with their initial issue with the machines. Other machine manufacturers, you don't get a huge box like this. You get a tiny little plastic box, and it has a few basic items in it. Bernina just goes all out, don't they? They just go all out when it comes to laying down something that's really going to dazzle you and really show you how much they care about you enjoying that machine to the fullest. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to cover there. The other thing I covered in the other live stream, and those of you that were at that other live stream are going to recognize this picture right away. Once I pull it up, that is. And I mentioned that this individual is very, very significant in the history of Bernina. And I asked any of you at the last live stream if you could identify her. Nobody could. Nobody knew who she was. So I'm going to show you that picture again, if I can find it. And anyone that's new in the audience today can take a look at this picture and tell me whether or not you recognize this lady, whether or not you recognize who she is. I know that the people that were at the last one will recognize her right away because I told you who she is. But the picture I'm showing you right now is the only picture that I could find of this individual standing alone with a specific machine, which happens to be a Bernina Record 930 electronic, just like we're looking at today. The only picture I could find of this individual, who happens to be the granddaughter of the original founder of the company. And her name is Odette. See if I can get a little bit closer. What do you think of that necklace series she has on? My goodness, is she is dudded out. She is way, way dudded out. Yeah, Susie's absolutely right. Susie said that's Odette, the granddaughter of the founder, standing behind that machine proudly. Why? Because she had joined the company back in 1959. Odette this was their family business. Her grandfather starts it, and in 1893, her grandfather establishes the first hem stitching type machine that has, it's fairly portable. It's a fairly small machine. And instead of trying to stitch by hand, her grandfather offers a hem stitching machine that right away just takes like wildfire. At that point, they are not Bernina. I don't care what the Bernina people try to sell. Bernina did not exist back in 1893. They didn't exist. And so his grandfather develops this hem stitching machine and starts to get his toe in the pond as far as the sewing world. And eventually, well, I shouldn't say eventually, decades later, right around 1932, finally in 1932, decades after her grandfather develops this hem stitching machine in 1893, 1932 rolls around and they finally declare themselves for the first time officially Bernina. And it comes from that mountain range over in Switzerland, the same mountain range that Odette was the first one in her family to actually climb that mountain range, which is about 13,000 feet tall. It's not quite, if any of you know about Mount Rainier out in Washington State, a lot of people do. It's not quite as tall as Mount Rainier. It's about 1,000 feet shorter, but she went out there. She was very athletic, and she did all kinds of physical sports. She was a go-at-it girl. And finally, she said, this company has named itself Bernina. My grandfather gave us basically the inspiration to step into this space officially in 1932. And I'm going to climb this doggone mountain. If no one else in my family is going to do it, I'm going to do it. So anyone that says that girls don't lead the way, poo-poo on you. Odette took it into her own charge and said, I'm going to do it. And she did it. I don't know if she had other people climbing with her, but she went 13 some thousand feet up on this mountain in honor of her family's family business, Bernina. So if you didn't know that, you learned something new in this live stream. Let's see what else I can show you. All right, that's enough of that. I'm going to try to move forward on this so we can cover some of this other stuff. But at any rate, Odette joins the company. I'll just share a little bit more with you because her name is also in this manual. I don't know with Kevin and Doreen's manual, since she sent me a picture of what page 3 looked like in her book, and it's different than this book. So I don't know if Odette is in the book for Kevin and Doreen's other 930 or not. But right in this book on page 3 is a special note to customers that buy Bernina products, and specifically this 930. And you can see at the bottom, right by my thumb is Odette's signature. And at that time, she was chairman of the board. She started with the company in 1959. She got promoted up. I think it was in the 80s, or no, it's earlier than that. She got promoted to president, and then eventually she was chairman of the board when her father, Fritz, I think it was her father's name was Fritz, that ended up passing away. And then she stepped in, taking the company over. And others in the family have stepped in after Odette passed away. Odette passed away in, what was it? 1992. 1992, Odette passed away. Only about 10 years after she was inspirational in helping to develop this Bernina 930. And that's why, if you do your own research, if you find something otherwise, let me know that. But I did a fairly detailed search for pictures of Odette, and I could only find one picture of her standing alone with the Bernina 930. There were other pictures of her standing with another person with another machine, but this is the only one. She's gently, if you look at that picture again, she's got her hand gently resting on top of the machine. Let me see if I can find it again. She's got her hand gently resting on top of the machine with a gesture of endearment because it was her baby. It was her machine. I got to find that picture again. Doggone it. It was her baby. Actually, her hand is on the side. She's cradling it. You see that? She has a real affection for this 930 record because she was involved in basically the design, the creation of this particular model that was introduced in 1982. And one of the things that she really wanted to put on this machine, I talked about this in the other live stream, she wanted to have a motor that was different, or as they refer to it over in Europe, an engine that was different than what the other makers were using. All the other makers had an AC type motor, an alternating current motor. And with an alternating current motor, the motor is set up differently, where in the middle of the motor are going to be the magnets. And as that machine is operating with those magnets in the middle, they're going to be turning like this. They're going to be turning like this. With a direct current type motor like is in this 930 that Odette really wanted in this machine, that Bernina usually ultimately adopted for all of their light industrial machines with the same type of DC motor. With those DC motors, instead of the magnets turning in the middle like this, the magnets are in a fixed position and the armature turns around the magnets like this. Now, the benefit of the magnets being in a stationary position is that they don't have a flux. They don't have a variance as far as their pull and power. Because they're fixed, that power and that pull is steady and stable. And that's why they designed the motor in this machine to be like that, to spin like this instead of spinning like this, so that it would have a lot better punch through down at the needle. No matter what speed you're sewing, you're going to get the same strength level. You're going to get the same torque. And that was one of the things that that Odette really, really wanted on this machine, along with some of the other features as well, obviously. Okay, so let me move all of this to the side, but I like to cover this stuff just so you can appreciate the history behind this specific machine and how it was the baby, the brainchild of the original founder's granddaughter. And what a great honor it was for her to introduce this machine in 1982, and to see it just well up as far as popularity during her time before she passes away. I mean, you think about it, the machine was introduced in 1982, and it was only about a decade later that she passed away. So she had that 10-year period to celebrate a major achievement, probably like Lee Iacocca. If any of you know anything about automobile industry, you know that Chrysler hired Iacocca because of his brilliance, and he helped to develop the Mustang automobile that everyone knows about. And that was his baby. That was his brainchild when he was with that company. And it made that company famous, just like this 930 record made the Bernina company even more famous, even more beloved, because of how people embrace this machine. All right, so let's start this live stream. I'm actually going to wind a bobbin for you so you can kind of see how we do that. I showed a little bit of that on a reel, I believe, but you just caught the tail end of it. Winding a bobbin is one of the first things that we're generally going to do when we're getting ready to put that machine to work. So we might as well start that way. Come right over to here. You're going to put the bobbin right on top. You're going to push it down. And then I kind of pop it back up. And then we're going to take the thread, and we're going to come from the thread spool over here. We're going to come around this tensioner right here one time clockwise. So from here around, and then come all the way back here to this bobbin. Okay. I'm showing you that because I've got to set the camera down now, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of this happening with the machine. See if I shut that. No, I think you can see everything okay. I was going to shut the light off, but I think you can see what's going on. So again, I'm just going to grab this thread. Going to come around clockwise around this tensioner. So you can see the threads are kind of crisscrossed right here. Then we're going to come over to here. We're going to wind the bobbin a couple of times. Push it down to engage it. And then we'll see if we can get this winding, get her going here. And it's actually winding right now. It's just that quiet. You see how we're coming around this tensioner right here? We came around this way. Now we're coming over this way. And there's our auto disengagement. It just kicked out because it's full. Go ahead and take it off. Close our little door. And now we've got a bobbin all pre-wound. But I'm not going to be using this bobbin today. I decided to go with a colored Gutermann thread instead. Decided to go with a colored Gutermann thread, but now I've wound another bobbin, so this will be ready for Kevin and Doreen when it gets back to Iowa with them. Actually, I've wound more than one. I've wound 4 of them so far, all together. So they're going to have more than enough bobbins pre-wound, depending on what their goals are when they get back. I'll go ahead and take this one off. It wasn't running quite as quiet as this when it came to the workshop, but these machines are just built so well. They're built so well that they've got that Swiss engineering, and they really run silky smooth when they're properly maintained. And I have no doubt at all that Bert, that owned that Bernina location that Kevin and Doreen went to get their 930 that's back in Iowa, I have no doubt at all that Bert really was passionate about teaching her customers how to take care of their machines, because they were a big investment. And so I'm guessing, I've never heard the 930 that's back in Iowa, but I bet you it sounds pretty doggone good, because Doreen and Kevin are very particular about the way they take care of their stuff, their vintage sewing machines. Now, let me ask somebody a question. As you were looking across the top of this machine a little bit. There's no screws. There's no screws for taking the top off to service the machine. There's a couple little plastic screws here. There's one screw right there. But does anyone know how you get the top of this machine off for servicing purposes? I'll bet you Kevin and Doreen do. Let's see if they can chime in and tell us what they think as far as getting this lid off, because I wanted to show you how to take this lid off. I noticed online that there's a little bit of confusion among people as to whether or not you can even service this machine from the top. And the answer is absolutely yes. Yes, you can. But how the heck do you get it off? So I'm going to look at the live chat and say good morning to some folks, and then see what folks are saying as far as getting the top of this 930 record off if we want to do servicing on it to keep it running smooth and silky strong. See what folks are saying. Now, Alex, see, this is really valuable. And this is where I say we can learn from each other. I learn from you all the time. And Susie from Minnesota was just saying to me the other day, after Candido came on board as a moderator, she said, Scott, I want to tell you that I love your leadership style. I love your leadership style. You don't step into the spotlight and say, look at me, look at me, look at me. You push us into the spotlight in these live streams where we can interact with a family, and you focus on the machine that you're presenting. And we love that. We love that we can be connected to the family in that way. And Alex shared with us in the last live stream that where we had all the technical snafus going on, that he has one of these models, but he said, I don't know. He just said right now, I don't know. How do you take the top off? Didn't know the top could come off. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know how to get the top of this off. But once you see me do it, you're going to be like, what? Is it that easy? Really? Let me check a text message real quick. I apologize. Someone sent me a text. I want to make sure I don't need to respond to it. Let's see. I have no idea who this person is. They just sent me a text message. I see the number, and they're sending a question about machine parts, and then they have pictures of the machine parts right here. I'm going to cover up their number for privacy. But I get these text messages all the time, and not just from the US. I'll get them in the middle of the night. And yes, I silence my phone, but I can hear my phone vibrating, and I'll be curious and I'll reach over and grab it. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's somebody from South Africa, and they've got a class 66 where the thread is breaking and they're wanting help. What do you say other than, okay, yeah, I'll see if I can help you? And then you try to go back to sleep. I probably should just ignore it, but I feel so bad that they're having an issue that we can help with. And any one of you could help just like that. All right, so blah, blah, blah. Enough blah, blah, blah. Let me show you how easily this top comes off. First of all, I'm going to have to unthread the machine. I've already got it all threaded, and then I'll show you how to thread the machine as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take our Gutermann thread. I'm going to carefully pull it out. This is really lovely thread. And by the way, I bought 3 of these at Joann's over the weekend. I bought 3 of these different colors, and they gave me 2 of them free. So I walked out of there paying for 3, and I got 5. So if you don't shop, I don't know where you get your thread, but if you have a Joann's near you and they run sales on the weekend, check it out, because you can get 5 spools of thread and only pay for 3 of them. How cool is that? Really cool. All right. Looking for a screwdriver. Here we go. Okay. Now, most people, when you look at the top of this machine, you would assume that this right here is going to be for presser foot pressure. Normally, if something is right in this region of the machine on top, it's going to be a presser foot adjuster. In this case, it's not. It's actually the release for the left side of the lid. So we just push a screwdriver in, and you're going to see the spring kind of pop up. I might have to get a different screwdriver. There we go. You see how it popped up? Now we have to go to the other side, open up our bobbin winder, and we've got this screw over here, and we have to give that a turn as well to make that pop up. So that one just popped up as well. It's not as prominent, but it did release. Now we can just grab the lid and we can remove the entire top. So you can service these points down below here. There's service points there that have to be lubricated. You can check the condition of your bobbin winding tire. Let me set this down because I'm going to drive you guys crazy. You can check the condition of your bobbin winding tire at the same time. Lubricate these different points of movement on here. And just do a general tidying up on there. And then look at all of these service points along here that you have to take care of. Several lubrication points. Right here, there's a lubrication point. You can see it's marked in red. Lubrication here in red. So it's interesting that Doreen mentioned that Bert out in Iowa had marked the different oiling points in red. This one is also marked in red. I doubt that it was in Bert's shop, but you never know. Maybe it was at some point because that's out in Iowa too. So yeah, oiling points, spring relays to check, gears that have to be greased, gears down here, gears right there. These all need grease on them. More gears right here that need to be greased. More gears right here that have to be greased. Lots of oiling points. And then here you've got your cam stack that's controlled by the electronic function of this machine. This also has to be tidied up as well to make sure that it's ready to do its job of generating all of those amazing stitches. But if you have a Bernina 930 and you've never taken the lid off and serviced all of these points that are so essential to the machine, you've got to do that. And beyond that, there's 2 screws right here, one right there, one right there, and then you can take the faceplate off, and there's additional critical service points inside of the faceplate area in conjunction with the take-up arm and all of the assembly coming off of that main shaft as well. And beyond that, you can also take 2 screws out of the bottom, and you can take these panels off to access the motor as well. There's a motor casing underneath here, and then this can come off as well. So I'm not suggesting that you have to do all of that, but it's good to know that you can. It's good to know that you can go that far with the machine. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's put that lid back on. Let's put that lid back on and get back to work. And this lid, if you're curious, same thing with the body. This lid and the rest of the body is going to be made out of an aluminum alloy. It has no ferrous qualities, no magnetic response at all to it, but it's incredibly heavy. That's a great question to throw out to all of you, is how much do you think that this Bernina 930 weighs in the case? And I can show you what the case looks like. So go ahead and you just take this one and you go ahead and push it down and turn it a half turn to lock it back into place. So that one is locked in place now. The lid is secure. And then we have to go over to this side and we have to take this other screw and push it down, turn it about a quarter turn, and then that will lock back in place as well. So that lid is secure again now, and it's not going to come off while we're sewing on it. So it may surprise you to know, I'll grab the case and show you. This is the monster case right here that this 930 comes in. That's the carrying case. When you combine the machine and the carrying case, how heavy do you think we're talking? Again, it's an aluminum machine. It's an aluminum shell machine, the case. But when you factor in this carrying case and the machine itself, type in the live chat how much weight we're talking about. What would your guess be? What would your guess be the combined weight of the machine and the carrying case? How much weight are we talking? So I've got Emma. Emma's saying 27 pounds. Susie is saying 25 pounds. Alex over in California is saying 26 pounds. Well, let me tell you this. You're all being tricked a little bit by me saying that it's aluminum, which it is. But I had the machine. I had Kevin and Doreen's 930 in the case, and I put it on my little scale. With the machine and the case, you're looking at 44 pounds. 44 pounds. So when you go to pick up this case with the machine in there, if you've got a bad back, if you've got bad knees, if you can't lift things over, say, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, you don't want to be lifting this 930. Have somebody else lift it for you, because when the machine is inside of there, you're looking at 40 plus pounds. I think my scale is pretty accurate. I think it came in right around 42 pounds, 43 pounds. So that's actually heavier than a 201-2. That's actually heavier than most of the Singer machines. So it gives you an idea. When I just took the lid off and I showed you the engineering inside of this model 930, it gives you an idea of how these things are built to be that heavy when you're talking about the outside casing being aluminum. they're built like a tank. They're built like a Swiss tank. Incredibly sturdy, well-built, rugged machines. And that's probably why Bert at that Bernina dealer right away knew what machine Doreen was looking for, knew right away what Kevin and Doreen would be interested in. They wanted quality. They wanted something that could go through denim like a hot knife through butter. And they wanted to have something that would last and keep going and going and going. And I mean, that's Swiss engineering, isn't it? That's Swiss engineering. So a very heavy machine to haul around if you're going to quilting retreats or quilting expos. Give up the gym membership, give up the physical workout, and just walk around with your Bernina like this. Do some knee bends, and you will be so pumped up and so buffed. You'll be able to go to the beach the day later. Yeah, I mean, they are a heavy machine, very, very heavy machine. All right, so let's get this machine threaded up now, since I just unthreaded it. And we're going to be using this, it's kind of a red colored, and I did some initial stitching. I was curious how it would show up on camera. I did some initial stitching with this Gutermann 100% polyester thread, and I sewed it on this brown 100% cotton. So I'm going to hold it in front of the camera right now, see if it will show up pretty well, so we'll be able to see the stitching. Yep, that's show on my side at least. I can see it very clearly. So I think the red on the brown, that's what I was planning on doing during this live stream today. I think that's what we'll do, and we should get some sew offs that you can see very easily. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that real clear on the camera. I hope you can as well. I hope you can see that clearly on the camera too. Yep. I think that'll work nicely. We'll sew on, I had two colors prepared. I had a lighter brown and then I had this darker brown. I think we'll go with the darker brown because it looks like it's showing up on camera really well. I think that's what we'll do. And the setup I have today, along with the Gutermann thread, this 100% polyester Gutermann thread, I've also got a special needle in here that I thought we would give a try, see how we do with it. It's from this variety pack that Susie from Minnesota sent me last Christmas. She sent me a bunch of goodies, sewing related, that she had extras of. And this was one of those variety packs of needles that Susie sent me. And what we're going to be trying to stitch with today, and normally you would use a little bit heavier thread because this needle design has an oversized eye on the needle. And so it's designed to accommodate a heavier thread like an upholstery thread, or something that's going to be a little bit more girthy and a heavier, thicker type thread. I did some testing with this polyester thread by Gutermann. It seems to work okay. But we're going to be using a top stitch needle, a size 90. It's all the way on the far right side where you see that empty space there. So we'll see what we think of the top stitch needles by Schmetz, a size 90-14, and we're using Gutermann thread as well. So German engineered needles with German engineered thread. I think that'll be fine. I guess I should neutralize that and say European, so that it draws in Switzerland too. I don't want to exclude Switzerland with this being a Swiss machine, obviously. All right. So let's get this threaded up now. We'll start on the back of the machine, coming off of the spool pin. All right, so coming off of the spool pin, we've got a thread guide right here that we have to go through. We kind of draw the thread up, lock it into place. Now we're going to be coming over the top of the machine through this track right here where the tension discs are. So we have to draw that thread down through there. And then we draw it down across the front of the machine. See if I can get the camera pointing that general direction. Let's do this. Is that better? Can't tell if that's better. I think that might be better. So we drew it through here. Now we're going to be drawing it down here around the bottom of this take-up spring. There's a take-up spring inside of there. Draw it from right to left underneath there, just like that. And that's going to help to control our tension. Then we're going to come up to our take-up arm, and it's got a little opening on top, so we can just draw it straight through. Then we're going to draw it down here. There's a thread guide. It's kind of hard to see. There's a thread guide right there. Let me shut off the light. There's a thread guide right there just above the needle. We have to draw the thread behind that. And then we're going to thread this top stitch needle from front to back. From front to back. All right, let me draw that down like that. And I usually cheat and I drop the presser foot. I drop the presser foot when I'm threading the needle. It's a little bit easier for me. But on this needle, it's really quite easy to thread it because the eye is so big on this particular needle. It's just huge. I'm going to say that and then I'm going to have trouble threading it. Watch. So funny. You say something's going to be easy and then all of a sudden you struggle with it a little bit. I'll turn my light on and benefit from the light. I threaded it really easy off camera. Isn't it funny when you get on camera and you can't do anything? Oh, how ridiculously embarrassing, huh? Never say something is easy when you're on camera because all of a sudden it will become difficult. All right, I finally got it. I finally got it. Holy mackerel. The eye of the needle is bigger than the state of Texas, and I couldn't get that thread to go through there. Probably because it's red. As we get older, certain colors are a little bit more difficult for us to see, and red is one of those colors. And that's why advertisers, if they're marketing something to older people, they generally try to stay away from the reds. And there's probably other colors as well that can be problematic. So, and then also I showed you the lay of the land on this machine the last time, but I'll go over it again. Obviously, we already covered this. The bobbin winder kind of pops up and down as you need it or don't need it. Up here, we've got our stitch width. This outer dial is going to control stitch width. If we have it on 0, we're going to get a straight stitch. If we want anything with needle swing, we have to rotate it between 1 and 4. This is our needle position right here. This is for buttonholing. This is going to be our stitch length. We can raise it up and then screw this in to lock it into place depending on where we want it. Or we can push it all the way up for reverse sewing. So we've got a variety of control features in this little space right here. This down here is going to be for darning. If you rotate this knob on the outside to the right, your feed dogs will drop. And then when you want to resume sewing after free motion quilting, freehand embroidery, you just rotate it back to the left where it is right now. And then you'll have those feed dogs fully engaged. And then finally, this knob right here on the inside is going to help you change between red stitches and green stitches. If you can see that little light on right over there, you can see right now we're set on green stitches. If we want to go to red stitches, we just turn this little knob so that red light comes on. And then there's an accompanying light on top that comes on at the same time. You see the red light right there, I think. I'm almost tempted to shut off my light above. Maybe that'll make it easier for you to see certain things. This is going to be our knee lift right here. I don't use it, and I'll probably pull it out shortly. But if you have the presser foot down like this, and you don't want to reach behind and grab that presser foot lever, then you just push this with your knee, and you can raise and lower your presser foot with your knee. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and kind of move it to the back because I'm okay with reaching around and raising that presser foot the old-fashioned way. That's okay for me. Let's see what else. Anything else I wanted to cover? This side of the machine over here, we'll talk about this a little bit as well. This is our control for a couple of things. If it's in a down position, the machine is shut off, but the manual still recommends that you unplug the machine when you're not using it. Go ahead and unplug the machine when you're not using it, but this is in the off position. This is for regular sewing and for powering on right there. And then if you want to use the equivalent of a slow gear, which reduces the speed of the machine by 50%, then you turn it all the way to the 12 o'clock position, right up there. That's going to be for slow sewing. Again, it reduces that direct current motor by 50% as far as speed. But we'll be using it in this setting for the majority of the time, which is for regular sewing. See if there's anything else. I don't think so. On that side. Now going across the top of the machine, and I actually took a picture of this so that we can use the picture as your reference when you're picking out stitches today. I tried to show this the last time in the camera, and it didn't turn out too good. Matter of fact, let me shut that light off real quick and see if that makes it easier to see. Let's see. I shut off my LED light above. Let's see if that makes it easier to see. Yeah, I think we'll leave it. It'll make it a little bit more challenging, but I think I'll leave this light off during the live stream. And I think it'll help out quite a bit for you to be able to see things that way. Because this live streaming camera that I use by Razer is really good on low light. So I think that'll work okay. I think that'll work okay. So back over to this again. This is going to be your on-off switch for the different stitch options that this 930 can generate. So when you want to access some of these, you go ahead and move this to the 1 to 20 setting right there. Move it to the 1 to 20 setting. When you're doing normal straight stitching, normal zigzagging, or if you're, say, doing the basting stitch or the long stitch that would be part of this function right here, then you want to have this down at the 0 setting again. This here is going to allow you to select the different stitches. So you kind of push this to the side, and then you can move it up or down to the stitch that you're wanting to sew. And again, depending on which light is on, the red one or the green one will determine what kind of stitch output you get. So right now I've got it set on 5. That means I'm going to get this stitch right here in the red column because the red light is on. You can see that. So we would get number 5 in this column. If I switch the selector over to the green, then instead of getting that stitch for number 5, I would get this stitch for number 5 right over here. So the light determines which column of stitching the machine is going to be focusing on. But again, when you're wanting to actually use these, you got to push this lever up and like this, and then you would be accessing the green side versus red side. Kind of like we're at a stoplight right now. We're late to get to an appointment, and why is the light always red? Gosh, I wish it would go green right now. And just as easily as that, the light's green. Yeah. But when we're going to be doing some of the basic stitching, we're going to move this down to 0. We're also going to move this down to 0 as well. Both of these are on 0 for our basic utility stitching. and when we're doing the basting stitching and the long stitching and all of that blah, blah, blah stuff. This is our tension adjustment for upper tension. If you want more upper tension because your lock stitch is too loose, you rotate this to the plus. If your lock stitch is over tight and you're losing definition on the top stitch, then you rotate this towards the negative. And you'll see the effect of that right here in the window by this little dial changing. I think you can see that. But this dial will show you where your upper tension is set. This dial opening over here will actually show you the pattern as you're running the machine. It kind of spins around and around and around and around and around. This I already talked about a little bit for general sewing. For regular sewing, you're going to be at the 12 o'clock position. If we're doing a basting stitch, we'll be to the left at 9 o'clock. And if we're doing a long stitch, we'll be to the 3 o'clock position. If you think about this like a clock. Okay? Yeah. That's about it. I already explained this is to take the lid off. This is to take the lid off. Comes right off. All right. This is your on-off for your light. And again, if I showed you the on-off switch on the far right side of the machine, that little dial that also has the slow gear. If you have that dial in the off position, you try to turn this on, nothing will happen. So that's the main power up on the right side of the machine that controls the whole function of the machine and power the machine up. So if you're not going to be using the machine for a while, don't just shut your sewing light off. Come over here and actually shut the machine power off right there. And then they recommend again that you consider unplugging the machine when you're not using it over an extended period of time. All right, I'm going to take this bed extension off so that during the sewing process, I'll be able to get a little bit closer. There's just a little release on the bottom. I'm just going to release that and pull this off. Nice little setup here where when you slide it over the free arm, you just rotate this little lever right here, and it causes this little piece here to pop up like it is now, so that presses against the bottom of the free arm and locks the bed in place. So that would be locked, unlocked, locked, unlocked. Okay. This is our raceway. And I didn't show you specifically, but you probably caught it. A lot of people will take the bed off when they're checking the bobbin case. They have this little window right here. Where you can look right through when it's on the machine. And so it makes it really easy to check what's going on down in the bobbin case, even with the extension bed on there. So we just open this up. We can see our bobbin case is in there. We can see that we've got our retainer properly pushed in. There's a little release right here. You push this, and then this pops open so that you can remove the bobbin case and other parts of it for deep cleaning on the raceway, for servicing it properly. Otherwise, you're just going to remove the bobbin case like this. Just pull that little flange out, and then you can remove the bobbin case very easily. And I cover this in all the live streams pretty much, but I guess I can cover it again. When it comes to general servicing on the machine, keeping the machine running well, I highly recommend and I don't know if Bert at the Bernina store in Iowa would have recommended the same thing, but I certainly do. You just take a Q-tip swab, put some sewing machine oil on there, take that bobbin case, swab the inside, swab around where that's going to slide into the machine, slide this as well where it's going to be mounting to the machine. Get that all nice and tidied up inside of there. And when you're loading this bobbin into this Bernina 930, you want to have that thread coming underneath the bottom. have that thread coming underneath the bottom. Bring the two together. Get that thread into that track right there. And then make sure it goes all the way underneath that tension spring, like that. And I showed in the other live stream, on this particular bobbin case, there's only one screw because of its design. Usually there's a mounting screw and then there's an adjusting screw. On this bobbin case, there's only an adjusting screw. And if your top stitching is looking like it's too loose, then you can always turn this in small increments clockwise, and it will pull down harder to define that top stitch better. Okay? Yeah. And when this is in the machine, kind of like this would be in the machine, it's going to be turning counterclockwise like this. So you know you have it inserted properly. Okay? And whenever you insert it, I recommend putting the thread on the left side of the finger so that it doesn't kind of get jammed up in there a little bit as you're sliding and snapping it into place. We'll put that back in. And now we need to draw that thread up. Raise our presser foot. Draw that thread up now. Close our door. Just double check again that everything's in place. And now finally, after all of that, we're ready to actually try something on the machine. So again, we had good success on camera, at least, with you being able to see the red Gutermann thread on the brown 100% cotton. So we're going to start out with this. And we'll start out with some of the stuff that some of you were wanting to see the last time when we ran into issues, technical issues with the live stream. So I'm going to set the material right there. Turn my light on just temporarily so I can make sure I'm lined up correctly. See, I always start out lined up correctly, and then all of a sudden I sew crooked, and then everything is for naught. But I try hard. I try hard. All right, so get that in place. Now, the first thing we're going to give a go at, we're set up already up here. We've got this on 0, this lever. We've got this lever on 0. Now we're going to go over to here, make sure that our stitch width is on 0. We don't worry about the buttonholer. Now we have to decide on our stitch length. I'm going to move it up to right around 1.5 to 2. I moved it to 1.5 to 2. I've got this set on green. That really doesn't matter in this instance. Our feed dogs are engaged. And now we're going to engage that basting stitch that we were getting ready to try to put into effect the last time when we had issues. So I'm going to give this a turn to the left. And now we're going to try to see if we can engage that basting stitch. And the basting stitch, again, is just going to give you, depending on where you set your stitch length, it's going to give you exaggeratedly long stitches so you can temporarily put a garment together if you're fitting it, if you're sizing it, and then you can remove those stitches very, very easily. That's really the purpose of that basting stitch, as most of you know already. So let's give this a go and see what we think. I've set it right around 1.5, so they're not going to be mammoth size stitches, but they'll be a little bit bigger. And you'll notice the timing of the needle bar will change. It will pause and it will go through a different mode of operation than when we're operating it normally. Okay, let's see here. Make sure the machine is on. It is. All right, let's give this a go. So that is our basting function right there. You see on the back of it, the size of those stitches are just mammoth size type stitches. But again, that's what you want when they're not permanent. This is just a temporary solution to hold something together. And then you can easily tear those out. You can easily remove them with no difficulty whatsoever. Yeah. Same thing on the front. My thread's still attached, so I'm kind of battling that a little bit. Yeah, cool. All right, so now we're going to go back to a normal stitch, and then eventually we'll go to that long stitch. And you'll notice how the machine behaves differently. It behaves differently than when it's in the other sewing modes. Get this back into place. I'm going to turn my overhead light on just temporarily because it'll help me out a little bit. Then if we go to look at that top of the machine, I can shut it off again easily. So again, to set it up for that basting stitch, all we did was turn this to the left, make sure our levers are both on 0. And we set this on 0 as well, the outer dial. We decided what length we wanted as far as that basting stitch. How long do we want that stitch to be? Because if you go all the way down to 4, it's going to be probably 2 to 3 times longer than you can see it is right here. Quite a bit longer. Quite a bit longer. So now we'll change it back to the regular sewing mode by moving this vertical. And then when we re-engage the foot controller, we should be able to see a normal stitch line that will be set right about at, let me make it a little bit longer. We'll set it right about at 2.5, which is what most quilters will sew at, 2.5 as far as stitch length. We'll stitch down a line of regular stitching doing that. Next to that basting stitch. I know that quilters like 2.5, but boy, oh boy, they just look so teeny tiny to me. They look so teeny tiny. It's ridiculous. But quilters know best. So we'll look at those stitches side by side now. You can see the dramatic difference between that basting function, and the regular stitching at 2.5 that we just did. And at least as far as that basting stitch, I just pulled part of the thread out. That really is easy to pull out. Look at that. I'm doing it already, and I'm not even trying. Ignore that. Ignore the person behind the curtain. So it's interesting, though, that if you really don't care when you do a basting stitch if the tension balance is absolutely spot on, because you're going to be removing those stitches anyway. But being anal retentive like I am, I'm looking at the stitching and I'm comparing them from the top stitch to the lock stitch. And I'm saying that lock stitch is a little bit loosey-goosey. So with the way I'm wired, I would be bumping up that upper tension just a little bit to tighten up this basting stitch so that it's equal to the top stitch. But when all is said and done, it really doesn't matter, does it? Because it's only a temporary solution to hold that garment together. But yeah, beautiful. Now we're going to do the long stitch. Let's do the long stitch now. Let me get this back into place. So to do the long stitch, all we're going to do is adjust this to the right now. We started on the basting stitch at the 9 o'clock position. We sewed a stitch line with a 2.5 stitch length setting like the quilters will use all the time on the regular mode at the 12 o'clock position. And now we're going to move it to the 3 o'clock position for what is a long stitch. And the long stitch is just a quick way to get a longer stitch without having to mess around with this necessarily. But we can still manipulate that long stitch slightly by adjusting this up or down. I'm just going to leave it where it's at for right now. But watch how the machine reacts differently in this long stitch mode compared to the basting mode. So it's literally going like stitch by stitch. You can see that little regimented pause. It's got a little pause factor as it's going through to lay down those longer stitches. The needle bar and the machine is manipulating the operation just slightly different than with that basting stitch, where you can see that needle hovering for a period of time as that material is being advanced, so you can get those oversized basting stitches out of that material. I just sewed over my material. That's not good. Hold on a second. Well, I tried to cut that little loop out of there and I cut part of the stitching, but you'll be able to see the stitching easily enough. Okay, let's take a look at this one too. This again is considered the long stitch on this machine. So we'll look at the basting on the top, the regular, and then the long stitch on the bottom there. And just pretend that I didn't cut that stitch part out there. Oh, I know, because I have that light on above again. I have that light on above. That's why it's having trouble focusing a little bit. Hold on a second. This camera does not like LED lights at all. It does not like LED lights. There we go. So the top row is the basting stitch we laid down. The middle row is a regular stitch line at 2.5 stitch length. And then the bottom one is the long stitch that the machine can generate automatically with turning that little knob. We'll get up closer so you can see that. Just ignore that part right there. Here, I'll put my finger over it. Yeah. So at any rate, it's just kind of nice to have an auto function here where we can go between those different modes very quickly, generate the basting, generate the regular, generate what's considered to be a long stitch in the manual. And then when we want to resume regular sewing, we just rotate this to the 12 o'clock position, and then we're back to regular sewing again. We're back to regular sewing all over again. So yeah, makes it convenient, makes it real convenient. Okay, so now let's do this. Now let's actually move into some of the decorative stitching. So I'm going to move my lever here from 0 up to 20, 1 to 20. And then I'm going to let you, I'll show you a picture. Actually, you'll be able to see it with that light off probably. Take a look at these two columns. Take a look at these two columns of stitch pattern options. And in the live chat, type the color. So you could put like R2 or G20, whatever stitch you're wanting me to try to stitch. And then we'll go ahead and lay down that stitching. Let me try to give you a real clear shot of those stitches. I've got it on my phone too. I put it on my phone. Let me try it on the phone. That might even be easier for you to see it. Hold on a second. Let's see if this is easier to see it. Somewhere here. There it is. This might be easier for you to see it, possibly. So again, the long column on the right is going to be the green stitch. The one on the left, the short little column, is going to be the red stitch. I'll show you the red stitches real close up here. Those are the red stitches, that short little column. I think it only has, what, six options for red stitches. So again, if you want to see a stitch, just type in R and then the number. R and the number. If you want to see a green stitch, I'll show you that column now. Then just type in a G and the number. Here's the green ones. I'm going to try to hold this with two hands so I'm not bouncing around so much. There's the green stitches. Okay, I can show that again in a little while, but I think that's probably long enough. You've had a chance to see it and maybe see some of the stitches that catch your interest. And we'll try laying down those stitches on this material. Let's see here. I'm just curious to see how, I wonder how that red will show up on here since this is a fresh piece. Let me just stitch down a basic stitch and just see if you can see it in the camera. Let's see. We'll lay down a zigzag. Lay down a zigzag on that. 3 and 3. Checking all my settings. Looks like I'm good to go. All right, here we go. Oh, I know what I did. Okay, never mind. I'm in the wrong mode right now. That's okay. I'll look at the stitching on here anyway. I think it's going to be hard to see. I had my lever between 1 and 20, so it's not going to go to the zigzag. It's going to override it and go to the cam stitching. Yeah, this is going to be tough to see, I think, on this material color. So we'll stick with the brown for right now. I just prepared both of these not knowing how it would show up, but this is going to be, it's going to be really hard to see stitch definition. Maybe not with the decorative stitches, but with the regular ones. Okay. All right, let me look at the live chat, see what y'all are saying. And if the moderators would be so kind as to help me out, because I see that there's some input as far as stitch preferences way near the top. If you could just quickly capture them and put them in a single line lower down, then I'll go ahead and start doing those on this material so that you can check them out. That would really be helpful if you could do that. While you're doing that, I'm going to do one more thing real quick. Hold on. Set us up with one more sew-off piece, just depending on how much stitch room we need. And yes, these are my Guggenheim shears, and they work really, really well. They work really, really well. All right, I cut this kind of quick because I wanted to start fresh. I'm going to go like this. Okay, got that in place. Let's see here. Sew repair. Oh, wow. We've got a sewing repair person from Norway. How cool is that? I wonder if they know Hans Christian. And I'm saying that with a smile. Hans Christian is a very, very common name in Norway. So I'm guessing that there's a lot of Hans Christians. But we have a dear friend, Hans Christian, that lives in Norway, obviously, as well. So, all right. So let's see what we have here. Green 16, green 7, green 13. So I'm going to do 7, 13, 16. 7, 13, 16. 7, 13, 16. Then I'll show these stitches again. Hold on a second. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Susie just sent me a note. I happened to catch it on my own, which is nothing short of a miracle. Normally, I miss everything. I miss everything in the live chat. And Susie just sent me a quick note saying, hey, we've got a gentleman from Norway that does sewing machine repair. So, yeah, that's great. Great to have that sewing repair person with us today. And I don't know if they want to share their name, but that would be super cool. Okay. So let me put my phone down. Let's go ahead and do these numbers that we had. 7, 13. These are all green, it looks like. All green. 7, 13, 16. 7, 13, 16. Just jot them down so I don't mess up. Green, 7, 13, and 16. And then I'll show you those stitches again. So you might see some red ones that you want to see as well. Okay, so we're going to move over to our first stitch. So we've got to move this control over to 7. So we just moved our control to 7. So it's going to be doing this stitch right here. Our lever's up. And don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. If you want to do a test stitch of a zigzag, you can't have this in this position. You've got to move it down to the 0. So don't mess up like I did a little bit ago, but it worked out fine anyway. So I could see that the red stitching on light material is not going to show up real well. So 7 is what we'll start with. And then we have to make a decision about our stitch length as well. Going to move our stitch length. Let's see. We also have to decide on our stitch width. I'm probably going to go with a wider one. So I'm going to move my stitch width to right around 3.5. I could go all the way to 4, but I'll move it to right around 3.5. And then our stitch length, I'm going to shorten it up quite a bit for these decorative stitches. I'm going to move it almost down to 0.5. Almost down to 0.5. Now, the last live stream where we ran into technical difficulties, I did that with one of the stitches and it didn't work. It was too tight. So then I had to increase the stitch length, and then all of a sudden that stitch presented. So this may be that case again, but I'm going to try this to begin with, probably right around 1. I'll put it on 1. I'll be a little bit more conservative. I'll put it on 1 and we'll see what we think of that. Okay. All right, let's do this first stitch. And I don't know who picked stitch number 7, but we're going to give it a go. All right. Checking all my settings. They look like they're good. They look like they're okay. All right, let's give this a try. Here we go. Oh, that's a fun one, isn't it? I'll do all 3 of these and then we'll look at all of them together. I'll do all 3 and then we'll look at them together. So we did number 7. Boy, I didn't do such a good job. I was rushing with my Guggenheim scissors and I did a pretty crummy job, didn't I? Oh my goodness. Wow. I got to fix that real quick. That little edge, that thing we got going on right there. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Look at how I did down there because I was rushing. See that? I'm getting really sloppy. Good gravy. Haste makes waste, as they say, right? Okay, so we did number 7. Now we're going to be doing number 13. Number 13. So we're going to go up here and we're going to move our lever for stitch patterns from 7 all the way up to 13. That's a pretty one. Look at that one that we're going to try. Yeah. All right, so let's try number 13 now. Number 13. All of our settings, we'll leave our settings alone for right now. And we'll do this next stitch line. And what I can do real quick to honor our owners, Doreen and Kevin, to honor them, I'm going to do the heel kick. No, I'll do that on a utility stitch. It's going to drive the machine bughouse if I try doing it with a decorative ornamental stitch. Yeah, forget that idea. Let's just sew it regular. All right, here we go. Stitch number 13, I think it is. Yes, 13. Isn't that fun? Ooh, wow. That is a stitch. Wow, that is really cool. Good choice. Whoever picked number 13. I like 7 too. But 13 is really groovy looking. That's really groovy looking. I'm kind of glad. I always go with white thread. I'm kind of glad we went with red thread today just to kind of mix it up and have a little bit of fun. All right, I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Let me show you what we've done so far, and then we'll do stitch number 16. We'll do stitch number 16 next. These are what we've done so far. There we go. All right, let's look at the lock stitch. Turn it around, look at the lock. Really pretty stitching, isn't it? I wish I had gone even shorter on the stitch length though, don't you? I wish we had gone shorter on the stitch length. Here's our top stitch again. And again, we're using a top stitch needle. Who knew? We're using a top stitch needle. I'm actually amazed that it's working as well as it is, because this Gutermann thread is probably 40 weight, but top stitch needles are really designed for a much heavier thread than what we're using. They're designed for a much heavier thread than what we're using. All right, let's check out number 17. I think 17 is our next one. Number 17. Okay, so now we're going to go to number 17. Move our stitch lever all the way up. That's it. The only thing I'm going to change real quick, because I love the look of these stitches. They're really lovely, but they could be tighter, couldn't they? They could be a little bit tighter. So let's tighten them up even a little bit more. Let's go to our stitch length and let's tighten it up even a little bit more. So I just moved it from 1 to about 0.75 approximately. Approximately 0.75, I believe it is. Excuse me. All right, let's do this number 17 stitch, and then I'll show you the stitches again. And please feel free to jump in and share some more input on the stitches you would like to see, especially the owners. I love the owners to chime in, since this is their machine. Let the owners chime in and tell us what stitches they'd like to see as well. That would be awesome. All right, here's stitch number 17. Stitch number 17. Oh yeah. I'm really glad that we shortened that stitch length. When you look at this next stitch line, look at how much tighter it is, how much more defined it is from an embroidery standpoint. We don't want those little gap points. I probably could go even tighter than 0.75. We could go all the way down to 0.5 on this, but we're going the right direction. We're going the right direction. This is what we want to see with this type of stitching. This is what we want to see. See, we're getting really close, but I probably will shorten that stitch length even more on the next stitches we do to really tighten that up nicely. Now, if we turn it over, look at the lock stitching, no difference whatsoever. They look like a mirror image of each other, which they're supposed to be. So you can't even tell the two apart. This again is our lock stitch, lock stitch. Beautiful stitching. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. All right, I'm going to show you the stitches again, get some input on what your thoughts are as far as other stitch options we can try. We've done 7, 13, and 16, all green stitches so far. We haven't done any of the red stitches, so I'm going to show you that column again and see if any of them jump off the page as far as being interesting to you. That short column again is the red stitch. So if you see something in that short column that's a red stitch and you want to try it, put in the R and then put in the number. An R for red and the number. If you see something in the green column, just put a G in the number. Okay, hopefully that gave you enough of a view of the stitch options. Again, so far we've done green 7, 13, and 16. All the other ones are fair game. All the other ones are fair game. So if you see one that really catches your attention, just type it in the live chat. I'll take a look at that right now. If I miss it, if one of the leaders would really highlight it for me, so I don't want to leave anybody out. If they pick a stitch, I want us to be able to try to sew that. I don't want them to think that we ignored them. So, okay, so it looks like we have red 1, red 6. Red 1, red 6. Red 1, red 6. Let's see here. Red 1, red 6. Okay. So now we're going to try these red stitches with our red Gutermann thread. We've got to change our selector over here, so we're looking at the red stitches. Right now we're on green. We've got to turn this to bring us to the red. So now we're on the red stitches. I'm going to shorten this up just a little bit more. But again, depending on how the stitch pattern is designed, we might sew one of these stitch patterns on a real short stitch length like the last time, and it won't turn out. So then I'll have to lengthen this. We'll give it a try and we'll see what happens. Now I've got to move our selector down to number 1. Down to number 1. Okay, so we moved our selector to 1. And because we're set on red, we're going to be getting this tic-tac-toe, whatever this pattern thing is. I have no idea. But it's really cool, number 1. So let's give that a try. If my stitch length is too short, we'll stitch it a second time with a longer stitch length so we can see the beauty of it. All right, here we go. Stitch number 1, red stitch. Stitch number 1, red stitch. Here we go. And based on what I'm seeing the machine doing with that initial stitch, I've got it set way too short because we're almost in a fixed position right there. We're hardly advancing the material at all. The material is barely advancing. So we're going to have a little gobbledygook down there. Let's go ahead and extend our stitch length a little bit further out. Right about to maybe 1.5. All right, let's try it there and see what we get. Some of this is trial and error. Some of this is trial and error because I don't sew with this machine every day and I'm not familiar with some of these stitches. So let's try that again, see what we get. All right, stitch number 1, red stitch. Let's give us a go. Take 2, as they say, take 2. Notice the tri-motion. The feed dogs are manipulating the material. So our initial setting of having that stitch length way down was the wrong move on this stitch. We may find that to be consistent with all of the red stitches. We may have to go with a longer stitch length so we can get that pattern stretched out big enough that we can actually see it. This might still be too short, but we'll take a look and see what we got. Yep, it's going to be too short. We're going to stitch it one more time. I'll lengthen that stitch length a little bit more and we'll give it a second shot. We'll give it a second shot so we can see that beautiful pattern and not have it compressed together so tightly. Right now it's super compressed, even with a 1.5 stitch setting. All right, so I'm going to lengthen it even a little bit more now. I'm going to bring it down to right around close to 2. Bring it down to right about close to 2. We were right up here. We'll bring it down to about 2 right now. Okay, so this again is our stitch length. We started way too short. We made it longer. It's still a little bit too tight on that pattern. Now we've made it even longer so we can stretch that pattern out and see the beauty and the clarity of that stitch within the pattern. It's not so compressed. All right, bring it right about there. That should be pretty close, I think. All right, let me get this material back in. And we'll try this same pattern a second time with a longer stitch length. But that's the thing when you're working with decorative patterns, depending on the machine and the way that pattern is being generated through that cam stack and through the electronics, you may have to tweak it to get it to look the way you want it to look. All right, here we go again. Take 2 or take 3, one of the two. All right, here we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now we're starting to get something that looks like it's supposed to be looking. It's like Edison when he made the light bulb. It took him over 1,000 tries and they said, well, you failed for 999 tries. He goes, no, I just figured out 999 ways not to make a light bulb. So thankfully I didn't try this 999 times. We only tried it really twice, didn't we? because we kind of stopped it in the first place when I could see that the material was not advancing in conjunction with the pattern. You have to kind of watch the beat of your machine, don't you? You have to watch the beat of the machine, and then you know if things are clicking or if they're not clicking. All right, let's take a look at this. The camera will eventually focus. I know it will. It's just a little stubborn sometimes. There we go. Starting to come into focus slowly. So you look at those columns, and you can see the first time we did that stitch, number 1, the red number 1 stitch, I had the stitch length setting way too short. It really compressed it. Initially, it wouldn't even advance it. It was so much overlaying the thread, congesting the sewing process. And then eventually I lengthened it a little bit more. It was better, but our last one is almost spot on, almost spot on. See, that's where we had the stitch. I had the stitch length setting so short that it couldn't even advance the pattern. I probably could have broken a needle because it was trying to manipulate the feed dogs with the tri motion and the needle movement at the same time. It could have easily snapped a needle because there wasn't enough range of motion to complete the pattern properly. And then we adjusted. It was better, but our last column I think is probably even better. Even better. But it shows you the dramatic impact of stitch length, doesn't it? The dramatic impact of stitch length. All right, let's flip it over and look at the lock stitch. No difference. We've got a real good balance right now on tension, don't we, for the application of sewing that we're doing. We've got that sweet spot where we're not having to manipulate upper tension or adjust the bobbin case. It's working together very nicely, isn't it? Working together very nicely. You can see here, though, we got a little bit of puckering, just a little bit of puckering on there. This again is our lock stitch. This is our lock stitch. Very nice. Very nice. Any wonder that people love the Bernina 930. They love the if you get a 930 and it's working properly and it's not smoking. It's not smoking like it was for Kevin and Doreen out in Iowa. You can just enjoy sitting down to this machine and creating with it, and you get intimate with it as an owner. You know all the ins and outs. You're intimate with the machine. All of a sudden, you can sit down to do this pattern, and you don't goof up like I did with setting the stitch length too short. You know right away on those red patterns, I've got to go a little bit longer to allow that needle and tri motion to do its job. Otherwise, it's like you're holding its arms in, you're constricting it, and it can't move. It can't move from side to side. All right, let's do this next pattern that you picked out. I think it's pattern number 6. Pattern number 6 under red. So now we need to move our stitch selector up to number 6, which will be the very top pattern. It's going to be our top pattern right over here in that column. All right, let's try this one. And again, I'm looking at this pattern in relation to pattern 1. Pattern 1 and pattern 6 are going to have similar characteristics. So I'm not going to make the mistake a second time and move that stitch length any shorter. I'm going to leave it just the way it is right now. We'll try that. And if we have to mess around with it a little bit, we can do that. But this is what we've done so far, which is really quite spectacular, I think. And I'm really glad that I was a rebel. I was a wild and crazy rebel that needed adult supervision at the fabric store. And I wandered over by the Gutermann thread. And initially I was going to grab the white. I always go white. And I looked at that red and I go, hello, sexy. I literally did. Thank goodness they know me there. And they're like, okay, he's weird, but that's cool. That's who Scott is. But I literally looked at that red thread and I said, hello, sexy. I said it kind of soft, but it really is beautiful, beautiful thread, isn't it? We've got to use more colored thread, don't we? We got to use more colored thread. All right, so let's try this stitch pattern 6. I'm not going to mess around with the stitch length. We'll leave it right where it is and see what we get this time. See what we get this time. All right, let's give this a go. Try to hold the camera and get it down there so you can see the action. Look at those feed dogs working the material back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, that's really quite lovely. That's really quite lovely. I'm just looking at the image. I think we might still have it a little bit too compressed. A little bit too compressed, I think. It looks really similar to the other pattern. It looks similar to the other pattern, a little bit different. Has a slightly different look. I'm almost thinking we could stretch it out even more. Almost think we could stretch it out even more. Yeah, they're very close to each other. Very, very close. Let's see here. 6. I'm going to make it just a little bit longer. We're going to sew it just one more time. I'm going to sew it just a little bit longer. See what we get. All right, let's give this a second run. I lengthened the stitch length just a little bit more. See how we can change the look of that pattern, because the two patterns are very close. It's a little bit hard to keep that material straight when you're doing it with one hand. A little bit tricky. Yeah, that kind of changes the look of it just a little bit. Let's look at this and see what we think. But they are real close as far as their pattern presentation. They're very, very close. A little bit different, a little bit different. They are close. They are close looking to each other. All right, this is our, I'm just double checking. This is our top stitch. This is our top stitch. And again, we sewed the same pattern twice. One had a little bit I lengthened that stitch length just a little bit more on the second run. Our camera's having a little bit of trouble. Let me turn it like this. See if that helps. There we go. So you can look at those two patterns, pattern number 1, pattern number 6. They're really close to each other. They share some characteristics, but if you look at them real close, they're just subtle differences. And then as we lengthen the stitch on the second run, it gives a slightly different look to the stitch altogether. Just slightly. There we go. All right, lock stitch, turn it around. And if you catch a glimpse of me and it looks like my head's turned, it is. I'm looking at the laptop so I can make sure that the camera is focusing and so I can show you the stitching with as much clarity as possible. I don't want it to be hard for you to see it. There really are lovely stitches. Turn it like this too. This again is our lock stitch. I want to see if we can get it to focus in this way. There we go. Yeah, some lovely stitching. Lovely, lovely stitching. All right, I'm going to show you the stitch patterns one last time and see if any of them jump out at you. Again, I don't want anyone to be left out. If you're in the shadows right now and you want to jump into the live chat just to give your input as far as the stitch that you want to see, I would love that. I know the leadership team would love for you to step out as well. Even if you just step out and then you step back into the shadows again, that's fine. That's totally fine. Well, we want you to feel like you're a part and we value your input. So far we've done, this is what I have written down. We've done green stitches 7, 13, 16. We've done red stitches 1 and 6. So we've only done 5 stitch patterns so far. We've only done 5, and there's what, 26. There's 26 patterns, 26 patterns that we can pick. I guess technically 25 if you exclude the straight and the zigzag. 25 stitches. So I'll show you that stitch options one last time. And by all means, jump in. Already, because of your input, we've already had a lot of fun in generating all of this. I didn't pick any of these. You picked them all. And you have really good taste. They're gorgeous stitches, aren't they? So let's see what you pick next. Let me see if I can pull that picture up again and show it to you. There it is. So the short column again is the red stitches. The long column is the green stitches, Okay, hopefully that gave you enough time to to look at those patterns. Again, the ones we've done so far is green, 7, 13, and 16, and red 1 and 6. So all the other stitches are open to trying. And if I need more material, I'll cut more material, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. Oh, hey, welcome to Candido. Welcome to Candido. Great to have you here. I know you had some VA stuff going on. I will show what I posted on Facebook with Candido's permission. If you don't do Facebook, then you haven't seen this. This is a picture of Candido and his beautiful wife, Rachel. And I don't know how many years they've been married, but I know that from what Candido shared in another live stream, Rachel is the love of his life. He absolutely adores her, and I'm sure she adores him back. As the picture evidences, when you see this picture, you can see the love on their faces, the love for each other. What a blessing, right? What a blessing. Beautiful couple in love and loving life. And also I know that they are people of deep faith, which I am as well. And so there's such a kindredness when I have contact with Candido and also the other leaders as well that have very strong faith convictions too. It's such a wonderful relationship of friendship to have, isn't it? Such a blessing. All right, so let me see if there's any other numbers that anyone has typed. Otherwise, I'll pick some. Teresa requested green 14. Green 14. Okay, let me write. I obviously missed something. I missed something. Hold on a second. Owners requested red 4 and green 4. Okay, so red 4 and green 4. Red 4, green 4. Okay, and Teresa requested green 14. Green 14. Green 14. Okay, so 4, 14, and 4. So I'm already set on red. So I'll do the red 4, and then I'll do green 4 and green 14. And then we'll probably wrap this up unless there's some additional requests for additional stitches. So we'll do red 4 first. Move our selector down to 4. Okay, our selector's on 4, which is going to generate this stitch right here. It's kind of a cool one. Almost looks like scrolly writing almost, doesn't it? Almost looks like scrolly writing. Okay, so let's do this stitch next, and then we'll do the 2 green stitches afterwards. We'll do the 2 green stitches afterwards. All right, here we go. Oh, that is a neat one. I like that one a lot. Great choice. Great choice. Wow. So a little tip, and it's a little tip that I've learned in gaining a tiny minuscule amount of intimacy with this model 930 in the brief amount of time that I've had a chance to sit down and to play around with things a little bit is when you're going to the red stitches, you want to automatically lengthen out that stitch length further than you normally would on ornamental decorative type stitching. Ornamental decorative is usually going to be a real short stitch setting. The red ones, because of the tri motion, are going to require a longer stitch length to generate a good product. All right, so we'll take a look at this stitch and then we'll move on to the other two green stitches. This again was red stitch number 4, red stitch number 4. I'm kind of crossing them out as I go so I don't get utterly confused. All right, this is going to be our top stitching. It's going to be our top stitching for red stitch number 4. Come on, camera, you can do it. You can do it. We'll come out a little bit further to start. All of a sudden, this camera is saying, I think I'm getting tired. I think I'm getting tired here. This camera is struggling just a little bit, probably because of the red thread, I would guess. Come out a little bit further. I'll try angling the camera down to see if that helps. Finally, it was on break or something. It was on lunch break. There we go. There we go. We're back to work. We're back to work at last. Thank goodness. And this is not a cheap camera I'm using. It's a very expensive camera, but it's very finicky, isn't it? Very finicky. Well, let's turn around and look at the lock stitch now. This is our lock stitch. Okay, let's move on to the next stitch, which is going to be a green stitch number 4, I believe. Green stitch number 4. Green stitch number 4. Okay, so we got to make a couple of changes now. We got to change our selector from red to green. So now we're on green setting. I know on the green stitches, generally with the green stitches, we've got to shorten the stitch length. So I'm going to start shorter than we are right now. Right now we're set on right around 2.5. We're going to shorten it up more to probably right around 1. Well, yeah, right around 1-ish. We'll leave it right there. Let's see, our stitch width has been on 3.5. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Make it just a little bit wider than it's been. We're going to move from 3.5 to 4. Not a big move, just a slight move up as far as stitch width. Now, finally, let's see. Now we need to choose our stitch. Stitch number 4, I believe. Stitch number 4. That's what we're on. How convenient was that? So our stitch number 4 is perfect just the way it is. We'll leave that alone. This is good. This is good. Let's do this next stitch now. And I'll show you what we've done already too, just as a recap. This is what we've done so far. Beautiful stitching. All right, so let's try this next stitch number 4, green, and then we'll do green stitch number 14 as our final stitch unless somebody comes up with something else. All right, stitch number 4. I forgot to move. I forgot to grab the camera to give you like a down low view of the needle working. Oh yeah, that's a nice stitch. Kind of looks like a 3-point zigzag. Looks like a 3-point zigzag. Number 4 green. I think we'll just jump into the next stitch right away, and then we can look at the 2 stitches that we just did once we're done with the second one. Okay, so now we're going to go all the way to 14, I believe it is. Yep, 14 green. 14 green. So we just go up top again. We move our stitch selector lever, kind of push it over to the side and move it up. All the way to 14. That's going to be a fun pattern. It looks like, almost looks like sea waves, doesn't it? Looks like we're on the ocean. Yeah, very nice. Let's check this one out. See what we think of this one. Stitch number 14 under green. Once we finish this stitch, we will have done green stitches 7, 13, 16, 4, and 14, and red stitches 1, 6, and 4, if my writing is not so bad that I can't read it, I think. All right, so now we're going to do 14 under the green. We'll see what we think of this one. All right, here we go. Adjust my seat a little bit. There we go. You see this one doesn't have any tri motion at all. It's all needle swing manipulation. It's all needle swing manipulation. And this is going to resemble, to some extent, this is going to resemble another one of the patterns we did earlier on. They're going to have some similarities. I can already imagine the projects that Doreen and Kevin are going to be doing on this other Model 930 once it's back in Iowa. They've got to plan a trip to come out to the workshop again. I already promised to give them a walk on the causeway and to buy them lunch for making the drive all the way back. Okay, so the last two we did are going to be down here. We'll take a look at those now. I'm hoping the camera decides to focus quicker this time. There we go. There we go. And you can see this last pattern we sewed, pattern 14. Pattern 14 needs a tighter pattern to it with a shorter stitch. So I had set it like around 1. I should have gone down to 0.5 on it. You can see that where there's a little bit of gapping on it. We need to tighten that up more to make it more embroidery style. Of course, granted, we're sewing with a size 90 top stitch needle, not the ideal embroidery needle, but we're pulling it off. We're pulling it off so far. Lovely patterns. I'm guessing sometimes it goes out of focus a little bit, maybe as the streaming speed slows down a little bit or something. You can only imagine. Let's turn over, look at the lock stitch. This is our lock stitching for the last two patterns we did. Patterns number 4 and 14 under the green category. 4 and 14 under the green category. Really, really quite amazing, isn't it? Quite amazing. Again, this machine would have been introduced in 1982. 1982 is when the first 930, or I should say it properly, otherwise I'll get nasty notes because Bernina USA and Bernina Corporate follow our channels on Facebook and on YouTube. And if I get it wrong, I'm going to get a nasty note from some big shot that says, hey, get it right. Get it right. So the Bernina record, or the Bernina Record 930 electronic. So it was introduced in 1982 and produced, I believe that Emma did the research the last time. Susie might remember. I want to say it was produced from 82 until around 88, something like that. Don't take that as fact unless one of the leaders confirms it. Maybe Candido or Susie or Emma or somebody can just verify that. And if they can't do it now, that's fine. They can let us know next time. But really quite an impressive machine, quite impressive. And we're really touching the tip of the iceberg with this machine. So I'm going to look at our time. Also, I want to go down the live chat real quick and greet everybody. I want to say hello to everybody that I haven't had a chance to say hello to yet. And then I'll show you the stitches one last time. one last time. And if no one picks anything, then we'll move towards wrapping this up. But I will do some pedal manipulation for the sake of Kevin and Doreen, just to show you how that pedal function works before we wrap things up in a final fashion. I don't do buttonholes. Someone said they want to see buttonholes. I don't do buttonholes. I just don't. It's my thing. So I'm not going to do a buttonhole on this live stream, even if you want to see one. But if Kevin and Doreen, when they come to pick up the machine, when they drive in from Iowa, we can set up an impromptu live stream. And if Doreen wants to do some buttonholes on camera, then we can go ahead and do that. But I'm not a buttonhole person. I'm not an attachment person. I've told that to Susie and others. I'm not into attachments and fancy stuff like that. I'm a basic sewist, and I get the machines running perfectly so that the real sewist can sit down and play all kinds of fun things on the machine. But let me greet everybody, and then if someone wants to do a final pick of some stitches for us to try, that would be totally cool. That would be totally cool. I didn't say whoever Truth Matters is, I didn't say it was easy or difficult. I just said it's not my thing. I just said it's not my thing. I don't demonstrate. I've never, ever, and never will demonstrate a buttonhole function on a live stream. Never will. But wherever you live, Truth Matters, since you're kind of pressing the issue, even after I said I don't, wherever Truth Matters lives, if you want to come to the workshop and bring a machine and demonstrate a buttonhole, I will put on a live stream just for you to demonstrate a buttonhole function. I don't find it interesting, and I don't find it to really demonstrate what the machine can do. It's so rudimentary, and most sewists that have machines that do auto buttonholing, most of the sewists that I know don't even use the function. They just don't. But some of the old Singer attachments that use cams to generate buttonholes or decorative stitching, like the auto zigzagger that Singer came out with, I've demonstrated that before because I think that's kind of cool. Taking a straight stitch lock machine and being able to generate decorative ornamental type patterns with it. But I'm not inspired by buttonholes. Maybe I need to go to buttonhole therapy because of that. If there is such a thing, somebody research to find out if there's buttonhole therapy that I could attend to all of a sudden be inspired to want to demonstrate buttonholes on live streams. But you can look at the 1,000 plus videos on this channel. You'll never see me demonstrate a buttonhole. Never have, never will. Yeah, never have, never will. What is that? Doreen here. I started the Scott about the do a GoFundMe page so I can go to therapy, so that all of a sudden I feel like buttonholes are cool and I want to present them on a live stream. Start a GoFundMe, or you can donate right now on the channel down near the bottom. You can make a donation. Ria from Holland did it as a thank you for me paying to mail her one of Susie's hats over in Holland in the Netherlands. I didn't expect it. I didn't ask for it. I love giving things away. And I was raised in a family where we were encouraged to be generous. We were encouraged to be very generous. So, but Ria surprised during a live stream a while back, and she made a donation through the YouTube live stream to offset the cost that I paid for the shipping, which again, I didn't expect it, didn't request it, didn't anything, but she just felt like she wanted to do that, which was great. I really did appreciate it. It was very kind. But anyway, let me greet everybody, and then you guys can continue to tease me about my aversion to buttonholes. I'd almost rather sew a buttonhole using an old-fashioned zigzag approach than the stepping process that the 930 has. As our friend Truth Matters said, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just not inspired to do it. Just not inspired. There's no inspiration to do it. Yeah, and my little friend from Switzerland is nodding her head saying, She's not inspired to do it either. She's not inspired to do it either. She's like, that's boring. Let's sew the decorative patterns and have fun. Somebody wants to be bored and watch grass grow or watch tree leaves fall off of a tree and fall, which is kind of cool, actually. Then they can sew a buttonhole and send us a video, and I'll post it on Facebook. That a girl. I love it. Doreen, go to the bathroom quick, dear. I know Doreen and Kevin. I've had lunch with them already. Doreen, Kevin, tell Doreen to go use the bathroom. She's laughing so hard, she's going to have an accident. She's going to have an accident, and then she's going to be like that. Doggone Scott, got me laughing too hard. What's going on? Now, this lady said she would do a buttonhole, but she can't move her arms. She can't move her arms at all. So how is she going to turn the little knob? I'm not going to turn the knob for her. I'm not going to be an accomplice to turning it to the buttonhole function, which is utterly, utterly boring. Oh, look at Daddy. Look at Daddy. He made a buttonhole. I think I'd like to try sewing. Oh, I'd love to try sewing, Daddy. It's such a beautiful buttonhole. Yeah, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. All right, what do we got? What do we got left? All right, let me say hello to everybody. Hello to everybody. Oh, you haven't created Truth Matters. Truth Matters must be new to this live stream thing. They must be new to the family. Truth Matters must be brand new to the Cow Country YouTube channel, because if they haven't seen my giddy, outrageous, exaggerated behavior before, then they've been sleeping in class. And one of the moderators needs to talk to them right now. Right now. Either Susie or Candido or someone needs to pull Truth Matters to the side and say, you know what? Scott is always in a goofy mood. You got to pay attention in class. You're missing so much. You're missing so much. You are. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Let me see who I didn't say hello to. Going way to the top. Going way to the top. I'm at the very top. I'm at the tip top. I'm at the top of the tip of the top. So again, hello to Emma, who's at work today and still so devoted and so dedicated, wanting to show up. Really appreciate that. And hello as well to Susie again from Minnesota. Hello to Rhea from Holland. Rhea from the beautiful country of Holland, where they have the most lovely tulips in the world. And good morning as well to, and I know Alex, I saw that Alex had to step away, but I'm going to acknowledge Alex anyway. So I'm glad Alex was able to be in the live stream also from California. Also, hello to Jenny Folsom. Jenny. And who else? Of course, hello to Kevin, Doreen, the owners of this incredible 930. This is like the 930 number 2. The original one Kevin bought for Doreen in 1978. So they've got 2 Bernina record 930 electronics. Now I'm going to get a nasty note from Bernina as well saying it's not record, it's record. I don't know which one it is. If I could call Odette right now, but she passed away in 1992, if I could call her and ask and say, Odette, is it record or record? I have no idea. So I'm going to say both. Then I can't be wrong. It's a record record. It's both. It's both. So hello to the owners. Great to have you here. Hello to who else? Who else? I'm scrolling. Still scrolling. Oh, you guys are so pretty. I love it. Still scrolling. Oh, hello to, I totally missed saying hello to Bill. I don't even know if Bill is still here. Mesa Group is Bill out of the great state of Minnesota, from the same state as Susie on our leadership team. They're from the same state. Has that beautiful dog that I posted stuff on Facebook about. I can't remember her name right now, but I bet you Susie knows it. And we also met her daughter as well. Remember, we mailed a hat at Bill's request to her daughter, Lisa, I believe. And it just happened to be Lisa's birthday. And Lisa shared a picture of herself, beautiful young lady, wearing the hat that Susie made, just looking like, wow, everyone's going to want one of those hats now that they've seen Bill in it on his live streams and they've seen his daughter, Lisa. Good gravy. Susie, you've created a monster. We're going to run out of hats again. Doggone it. We're going to run out of hats. Let's see who else. Also, good morning as well, or good afternoon, I believe it is now. It's good afternoon, even in the central time zone. Good afternoon to Truth Matters. Great to have you here. You seem like you're a sport. You don't mind us kind of being silly together and goofing around. And I do appreciate your buttonhole challenge. But in one word, I'll just say denied. Denied. Yeah, denied. Aha! All right, who else? Also, again, a special welcome to our friend from Norway. What is it? So Repair out of Norway. So it's kind of cool in this live stream to honor Kevin and Doreen and their 930 that we know of. And there may have been additional people. We've got people from all over the US, and we have people from Norway. We have people from Holland. God knows where else. I mean, we have folks from all around the world that join us, and they sometimes sit in the shadows, and that's okay. I think we just had somebody from Susie. We just had somebody from South Africa, didn't we? At the last live stream, we had somebody from South Africa. So I think we have almost 130 countries now that follow our work on YouTube. So we never know. You never know where somebody's going to be from. They might even be from an incredibly exotic and strange land like Wisconsin. Imagine that. I'm not making it up. We might have somebody from Wisconsin. That's weirder than any other place we could come up with. Really, it is. All right. Who else did I miss? Anybody? Oh, hello to Sarah Wimmers. Hello to Sarah Wimmers. Oh, hello to Teresa. Hello to Teresa Henning, if I'm reading it correctly. Great to have Teresa here. Obviously, welcome to Candido. Great to have Candido here as well, one of our newest leadership team members. I almost totally missed her. I got to the end and I thought, okay, that's it. And then all of a sudden I saw the name Dawn. So welcome to Dawn as well. Great to have Dawn here also. And Dawn is from Wisconsin, that strange and foreign exotic place that I talked about. That's more exciting than Holland or Nigeria or Belgium or France or anywhere else. So it's great to have somebody from Wisconsin here. Never been to the state, but I hope to visit there someday. It's on my bucket list. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show you the stitches one last time, and then we're going to wrap this live stream up. So far, we've sewn green stitches 7, 13, 16, 4, and 14. And we've sewn red stitches 1, 6, and 4. So that's all the stitching we've done using the cam function that's controlled electronically on this 930. So we've sewn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've sewn 8 stitches so far. All the other ones are up for grabs if anyone wants to try them. I'll show them to you one last time, and then we're going to wrap this up because it looks like we're almost shy of 3 hours, and we need to bring this to a conclusion. We need to bring this to a conclusion. All right, give me a second here. I'll pull it up again one last time so you can see the stitches. And if there's one that jumps off the page, and if one of the leaders would be so kind as to type in the stitches that we've already done. So again, the stitches we've already done under the green category is 7, 13, 16. I feel like saying bingo right now. Does anyone else want to say bingo? Yeah, you do. Just admit it. Come clean. As I'm reading these numbers off, you're looking at your card with your little dabber and you're going, I know I'm going to get bingo this time. I know I'm going to get it. I know I'm going to get it. So we've done green 7, 13, 16, 4, and 14. Again, green 7, 13, 16, 4, and 14. And then the red ones we've already done is red 1, 6, and 4. 1, 6, and 4. Any of the other stitches, if anyone as a last minute thing wants to add them into the live chat, we'll do those and then we'll wrap up this live stream. Here's the stitches again. Again, the short column on the left, the short column on the left are the red stitches. The long column on the right are the green stitches. Green on the right, red on the left. All right, I think that's long enough. That's long enough. So if there are no other stitches, then we'll wrap this up. Otherwise, if there's other stitches, I'll write them down and we'll give them a go real quick. All right, I'm going to put down green and red, and we'll see if there's any other folks that want to see any stitches. Oh, thank you. Candido typed down the stitches we've already done. So perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm not. We've already done. Again, we've done green stitches 16, 4, and 14, and we've done red stitches 1, 6, 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick, if no one else has any input based on the stitches that we have available, I will pick one from green that we haven't done, and I will pick one from red that we haven't done, and then we'll wrap this live stream up. And again, so grateful to have everyone here. I know that Tuesdays are just as busy of a day as any other day of the week, especially if you're still working or if you're volunteering or if you're doing other things like that that pull on your time and fill your schedule. It just shows how much you're committed to the Cow Country family and how much you enjoy coming together to celebrate a great machine like this that belongs to Kevin and Doreen out of Iowa. It really is an honor to have every machine come in the workshop, and especially with having new friendships that we forged with Bernina USA, which has, I think, 300,000 followers or something like that, and also Bernina Corporate as well. Since they're following our work now and what we're doing on YouTube and on Facebook, I love spending this extra time to really celebrate a great Bernina machine like this that was really an inspiration and a living legacy of this lady right here that I showed at the beginning of the live stream. If you came to the class late today, then you might have missed that this is Odette, and her name is actually in the front of a lot of the owner's manuals as the chairman of the board for Bernina. And she was the granddaughter of the founder that made that first hem stitching machine back in 1893. And then she went to work on with the company from 1959 until the 1980s. And during that time, she developed this model 930. This was her baby. And this is the only picture, like I said, the only picture I could find on the internet of her standing alone with her hand on the machine. Look at her hand. Her hand is gently touching that model 930, just like Kevin and Doreen's machine that we've been presenting on this channel today. She has such a love, such an enduring touch for this machine that she had a hand in developing that came out in 1982, only about 6 years before she retired from the company, and then only 10 years until she passed away. So this was her living legacy machine that she developed with Bernina. I just cut her head off. There we go. Sorry about that, Odette. Yeah, look at her hand right there. Her hand is right on the faceplate, not the nose plate. There's no such thing as a nose plate. Don't get me on that little rant. There's no such thing as a nose plate. Anyone that's saying nose plate on the internet should be like shut down. Chase him out of town. So yeah, Odette was the inspiration for this great machine. This great machine. All right, 2 more stitches. A red stitch other than 1, 6, and 4, and then a green stitch. So I'm going to go back to, why don't we do green first? So I can't do 7, I can't do 13, I can't do 16, I can't do 14. So let's see. 14, 13. Did we do 13? We did 13. Doggone it. 12. Number 10 is kind of cool. All right, I'm going to do number 10. Number 10 under the green stitches. Number 10. Number 10 is kind of, actually, number 9 is kind of cool too. I'm going to do number 9. We didn't do number 9. Number 9 is kind of like the eyebrow stitch. I know that Bernina hates it with the names I make up, but I'm going to call number 9 the eyebrow stitch. Number 9 is the eyebrow stitch from this point forward. All right, number 9. So we're going to do number 9 green, and then I'll pick out one from the red category, and then we'll wrap up this live stream. Because as much as I made Doreen laugh, she probably needs to use the bathroom if she hasn't already. Yeah. I need to stop making people laugh. We need to be serious about sewing. We need to be serious. No, not on this channel. So look at all these stitches we've done already. Then we'll do this number 9 green stitch. Yeah, let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. All right, let me check my stitch length. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit more. Okay. Because on the green stitches, I can mess around with stitch length. On the red ones, I need to make them longer. All right, I see I can learn. I can learn. All right, here we go. Here's our final green stitch. All right, that's our final green stitch. Oh, that was kind of cool. Oh, that is a neat one. Yeah, kind of like a woo. Almost looks like an eye, really. Sort of. Maybe. Could be an eyebrow. All right. Okay, here it is. There it is. Okay, got it. And then I'm going to pick a red one, and then I'll show you these last two. And then I need to remember. I need to remember to show that foot controller thing real quick. Okay, so now let me get this back in. We'll do a red stitch now that we haven't done yet. So I need to switch over now to red. So our red light is on. And I need to know, because it's a red stitch, I now need to lengthen my stitch length. So I'm going to go almost to 2. Go almost to 2. All right, so now we're in the red category up here. And which one haven't we done? We did 1, 6, and 4. 1, 4, and 6. 1. We haven't done 3. I don't think we did 3 in the red category. So 3 is an option. We also didn't do 5. I like 5 better. It doesn't look like we did 5 in the red category either. So I think I'm going to do 5, 3. Yeah, let's do 5. So I'm going to move my selector down to 5. Okay, that should be on 5. Looks like it's on 5. All right, let's give this last stitch, and then I'll show that foot controller, and then we'll wrap this up. Wrap it up. Wrap it up, baby. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Okay. Oh, I got all excited there. I'm hitting the back pedal on this, and it's going, whoa, stop that. We don't like it. Okay. So now we're going to do stitch number 5 on the red. This is our final stitch. Then I'll just show that stitch by stitch function that the foot controller controls by pushing your heel down instead of your toe forward. Okay. Well, let's finish this stitch first. All right, here we go. Look at that tri-motion manipulating those feed dogs. Those feed dogs are going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, we're going to stop right there. Oh, what a neat stitch. I'm so glad I picked this one. This is cool. This is fun. This is interesting. Very, very cool. It almost looks like a royal crown. Wait until you see this. It looks like a royal crown. And you couldn't hear her because she said it off camera. Wait a second. Let me pick you up so you can say it one more time. Hold on a second. Hold on. Before I show the stitch. Okay, say it really loud so they can hear you. She's kind of shy. She said the last stitch we just did, the red stitch number 5 is her favorite one. Red stitch number 5 is the Swiss Miss's favorite stitch that the 930 can do. Yeah. All right, so let's check this out. Oop, I forgot to clip my threads over there. Yeah, I really like this stitch. This is fun. All of them are amazing. All of them are amazing stitches, but this is really kind of a cool one. This is the last one we did right here on top. Come on, we're almost done, camera. You can focus now. Focus now. Come on. Yes, there it is. Isn't that a cool stitch? That again, if you have a Bernina 930, that's going to be the red stitch number 5. Red stitch number 5. Red stitch number 5. Somebody come up with this stitch. Somebody come up with a name for this stitch, if you would. What does it look like to you? What does that stitch pattern look like? Those are the last 2 stitches we just did right there. Look at how we did so many rows of stitches. I can't even get them all in the shot. There we go. All of these we did on the live stream in honor of this Bernina record 930 that is owned by Doreen and Kevin out of the great state of Iowa. We did all of these on the live stream. Yeah, that's a fun stitch. I love them all. All right, lock stitch. Oh, wrong side. Ha ha! Wrong side, Scott. Wrong side. Start over there. Start over on that side. Those are the new stitches. So you notice as well, because of the type of needle that we're using a top stitch needle that is designed and engineered. The anatomy of the needle with a larger eye is designed to accentuate the top stitch more. It's going to give you a more accentuated top stitch. That's why when you look at these lock stitches, they're beautiful, they're amazing, but they're not as sexy, they're not as wow as the top stitches. Look at them. These are the lock stitches. They're nice. They're very cool. They're really cool. Really nice. Amazing. But then we turn it over and look at that top stitch. It's just a meteor. It's meteor. It's more accentuated. It's more robust. It's more like pizzazz. The top stitching because of the Schmetz top stitch needle. So if you're making a product or doing a project where you really want wow on the top stitch, grab yourself some Schmetz top stitch needles and some good quality thread, and you can pizzazz too. It's not just limited to the workshop. Yeah, not just limited to the workshop, but that's really pizzazzy, isn't it? Yeah. Well, thank you again to Doreen and Kevin for the privilege of having both of your great machines in the workshop. The Belvedere, I think I got that right. So many machines in my head, you guys. It's like a swimming mess. But the other machine, the Belvedere, the Rocket 110, I believe it was, the Feather Light that was made in Japan, and now this Swiss-made Bernina record 930 electronic. Just amazing machines, all in all, to be able to present on this channel. Thank you also to the leadership team for all of the work that they do so generously with their time and talent to take care of the Cow Country family. And a special thank you again to our newest leadership team member, Candido, and the blessing that he is to this channel. And certainly Susie and Emma and Bill and Veronica and Michelle, and the list goes on of people that dedicate their time and talent. And all of you that have been in this live stream, enduring my blah, 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 so you could catch a glimpse of these amazing stitches with this 930 and just celebrate another great machine that's going to be heading back to Iowa to Kevin and Doreen. So beautiful stitching. I love the top stitching. The lock stitching is cool, but it's not quite as cool as the top stitching. So with that, I'm done. I'm out of here. And I'm ending this live stream soon, not having completed a buttonhole. No buttonhole. No button. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says buttonhole free zone. Buttonhole free zone. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to have one made. Matter of fact, we have an embroidery place right in town. I'm going to say, make me a t-shirt that says no, like a circle with a line through it that says no buttonholing on live streams. That's, yeah, watch for it. Watch for it. It's going to come. It's going to come. All right. So let me do this. Rotate this great machine carefully to the side. Move that out of the way. Just like this. Turn on our light. Put our display right there. Let me cut this thing so it's actually looks reasonably straight. Yeah, it's still not. Just tilt your head to the side. It'll look like it's straight. It's fairly straight, sort of, kind of. Not really. All right. Well, excuse me. Thank you again to everybody. Thank you to Doreen and Kevin. Thank you to everybody for being a part of the live stream today. And I'm going to put on a little bit of music. You need to step away. Step away. And otherwise, hang around for a little bit, chat with some people. And then once I end the live stream, the live chat will stay active for a little bit, and then it'll time out. I have no control over that. I wish I did, but I don't. Okay. Turn our light on again so you can see the stitching over there, maybe a little bit more easily. All right, there we go. Great machine. What a fabulous machine. Fabulous machine. Fabulous. Ooh, that was fun. Shutting it off from over here. It's on. It's off. It's on. It's off. All right, leave it alone, Scott. Leave it alone. All right, one last time. I'll bring it up here so you can see it. One last time. Yep. Any wonder why people love this machine? I mean, honestly, any wonder? Any wonder? Absolutely amazing. Wow! Amazing. All right. All right, where's my polka music? I need polka music. Odette, if Odette was here, being a Swiss girl, she loves polka music, so we're going to do that in her honor. Where's my polka music? Odette. Where's my polka music? Where? Not Japanese. All right, this is kind of like I'm going skiing music, but it's close. It's really close. Oh, that's right. You're right. I got to do one last thing. One last thing for Kevin and Doreen. I said I was going to do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Tickets. What is wrong with me? All right. Music. No, stop the music. I forgot. I almost forgot. So the foot controller. So normally if we're sewing something, we're going to push this forward. But on this Bernina foot controller, I can push it back and I can go one stitch at a time. Watch this. I think you can see that. Kind of a long ways away, but you get it. Okay. Here, let's do this. Totally, almost messed up. Let me shut that light off. There we go. So push this back, and it does this. And then if I push it twice real quick, let's see if the needle goes down. I got to get the right timing to do this. Hold on. Wait. I'm not doing it right. At any rate, if you push it twice real quick, the needle goes in the down position so you can rotate the material. At any rate, I got 50% of the way there. It worked before, but at any rate, you'll get the technique down where if you use your heel and you push down twice, the needle will go in the down position and stay, and then you can resume sewing forward again by just pushing it this way. Or so at any rate, that's what I forgot to do. Okay, I'm done now. Ah, goodness. All right, back to the polka music.